Are you ready to outsmart the average and unlock your true potential? Imagine tapping into the same wisdom that powered some of history's greatest minds, people like Marcus Aurelius and Seneca, using ancient secrets that are more relevant today than ever. In this video, I'm revealing 9 powerful Stoic lessons that can literally transform the way you think, make decisions, and handle life's toughest challenges. These aren't the typical self-help tips. These are game-changing principles used by geniuses to rise above mediocrity. Want to know what most people will never discover about unlocking higher intelligence? Stay with me, because by the end of this video, your mindset will never be the same. Have the mind of a detective, not a judge. Have you noticed how most people jump to hasty conclusions? Someone glances in your direction and you immediately think, that person doesn't like me. Or you read a headline and believe it blindly, without questioning a single word. Stoic philosophers identified centuries ago that the greatest error of the human mind is judging before understanding. If you want to surpass the average in emotional intelligence, you need to develop the sharp eye of a detective, not the reactive impulse of a judge. Imagine this scenario. You receive a short, direct message from a friend, "Can't talk now." Most people would instantly create a mental drama. Is he angry with me? Did I do something wrong? But the practitioner of Stoicism acts differently, analyzing only concrete facts, not emotional assumptions. What do you really know? Only that, at this moment, your friend cannot talk. Everything else is a creation of your mind. The most successful leaders, visionary entrepreneurs, and truly accomplished people don't base their decisions on nebulous assumptions, but on tangible evidence. And you can begin cultivating this transformative habit today. Here's a powerful exercise to train your Stoic mind. When you feel anger or the impulse to judge, pause. Breathe deeply and resist the temptation to react immediately. Ask yourself, what are the actual facts? Are you responding to what actually happened, or to your interpretation of events? Put yourself in the other person's position. If someone cut you off in traffic, perhaps they're facing a genuine emergency. The simple act of analyzing before reacting can prevent countless unnecessary conflicts, protect important relationships, and position you as someone truly respected for your mental clarity. Now that you've learned to observe before judging, how about discovering a Stoic secret capable of giving you an extraordinary advantage over most people? In the next lesson, you'll dive into the sublime art of not reacting impulsively, a technique capable of revolutionizing your emotional intelligence and completely transforming how you face daily challenges. Master the art of not reacting. How many times have you deeply regretted reacting in the heat of the moment? A provocative comment, unexpected criticism, someone challenging your convictions, and before you even realize it, you've responded impulsively, only to regret it minutes later. The Stoics understood a fundamental truth: whoever controls their reactions controls their entire environment. And it's exactly this transformative ability that you'll develop now, the refined art of not reacting impulsively. Reflect on the last time you lost your composure in a discussion. What happened next? Probably, the situation only deteriorated further. Now, imagine an alternative scenario. Instead of responding immediately, guided by emotion, you simply take a strategic pause. Here's an extraordinarily effective Stoic technique, the 5-second rule. Whenever you feel the impulse to react instantly, force yourself to wait 5 complete seconds before speaking or acting. This seemingly simple practice produces surprising results. In just 5 seconds, you allow reason to regain control over emotions. You give space for the other person to reveal their true intentions. You maintain command of the situation while others lose their composure. Let's practice this concept right now. Close your eyes for a moment and visualize a situation that would normally trigger your irritation. Now, imagine yourself implementing that crucial 5-second pause before any reaction. What do you notice? An undeniable sense of control and clarity, isn't it? From today, consciously apply this technique whenever someone tries to provoke an emotional reaction from you. Hold your response for 5 complete seconds. You'll discover that, most of the time, the most powerful reaction is simply not to react. Or, at minimum, to respond with a much more lucid perspective than your initial impulse would suggest. Now that you've mastered the art of controlling your reactions, you're ready for the next level of Stoic wisdom, learning to precisely distinguish what deserves your valuable attention. In the next lesson, you'll discover a revolutionary Stoic principle capable of eliminating unnecessary anxiety and stress from your life. Train indifference to what you cannot control. How many precious hours of your life have you already wasted worrying about situations completely beyond your control? An unexpected traffic jam, a negative comment on social media, disturbing news in the newspaper. Most people invest incalculable energy trying to modify immutable circumstances. However, the Stoics discovered a liberating principle capable of eliminating much of your anxiety and stress. Worry exclusively about what is under your control. Imagine this situation. You're about to leave for an important appointment when it starts raining heavily. You have two options. Become irritated, complain about the weather conditions, and allow stress to dominate your experience. Calmly accept the situation, grab an umbrella, and proceed with your day. What really changes between these two approaches? The rain will continue falling regardless of your reaction. The only real difference is in your peace of mind. Now, reflect on something that's consuming your mental energy at this moment. Ask this fundamental question: is this situation genuinely under my control? If the answer is negative, it's time to immediately redirect your attention and energy. Here's a transformative Stoic exercise. Take a sheet of paper and divide it into two columns. In the first, list everything that's effectively under your control. In the second, enumerate what's beyond your direct influence. Now, mentally eliminate the second column and concentrate exclusively on the elements of the first, those you can effectively transform. This simple exercise can completely revolutionize your approach to everyday challenges. Less paralyzing worry, more constructive action. Now that you've learned to focus precisely on what really matters, you're ready for an even more significant advancement in Stoic philosophy. In the next lesson, you'll discover how to drastically reduce the importance attributed to trivial situations, eliminating an enormous volume of unnecessary stress from your life. Reduce the importance of things. Have you observed how some people become completely destabilized by trivial situations? A slightly cross comment, a minor setback at work, a small delay, and just like that, their entire day is ruined. The Stoics, however, mastered an extraordinarily powerful secret: the ability to deliberately reduce the importance attributed to everyday events. The revealing truth is that most problems only seem overwhelming because we mentally amplify them. When you alter your perspective, you'll realize that approximately 90% of the situations that provoke your irritation will have no lasting relevance in your life. Here's a simple yet transformative Stoic exercise. Whenever something seems disturbing, ask yourself, will this still matter a month from now? If the answer is negative, don't waste your valuable mental energy on it. If it's positive, then channel that energy toward finding effective solutions, instead of feeding sterile complaints. Imagine this situation. Someone abruptly cuts you off in traffic. You can yell, honk incessantly, allow anger to consume your balance and compromise the rest of your day. Breathe deeply, maintain your serenity, and proceed, recognizing that this incident will have absolutely no impact on your life in the long term. Now, think about what's causing your worry today and ask these revealing questions. Will this issue still be relevant in my life a year from now? If someone else were facing this same situation, would I really advise them to worry? Does this question truly deserve my vital energy, or am I just reacting impulsively? The Stoics understood a fundamental psychological truth. The human mind has a natural tendency to disproportionately amplify insignificant problems. However, truly wise people develop the discernment to recognize that not every situation requires an intense reaction. Now that you've learned to resize the importance of everyday events, you're prepared for an even more transformative Stoic strategy. In the next lesson, you'll discover how to conquer without necessarily winning, a principle that can give you an extraordinary advantage in any context. Learn to gain without needing to win. Have you ever found yourself in a discussion where, at the end, you realized that absolutely no one emerged victorious? Or have you ever stubbornly insisted on proving your viewpoint, only to see the conversation degenerate into a totally unproductive conflict? The Stoics understood something that most people ignore. Not every significant victory results from winning an explicit battle. Often, true strategic intelligence resides in not needing to prove anything at all. Reflect on this fundamental question: what is genuinely more important, being right or achieving peace of mind? Winning a specific discussion or reaching your deeper objectives? Most people engage in heated debates simply to feed their ego, without realizing that, often, the capacity to strategically retreat represents the true indicator of elevated emotional intelligence. Here's an extraordinarily powerful Stoic principle that can provide you with an incomparable advantage in any situation: the rule of silent victory. Before diving into any debate or confrontation, honestly question yourself: if I win this discussion, will it really transform anything for the better? Am I discussing something genuinely important, or just to satisfy my ego? Is there any way to achieve my objective without necessarily entering into conflict? Imagine this situation: someone deliberately tries to provoke you. You have two clearly defined options. Yield to the provocation, waste your vital energy, and potentially emerge weakened. Maintain your inner serenity and allow the provocateur to exhaust themselves alone. The most fascinating aspect of this dynamic: whoever loses self-control inevitably loses reason as well. If you simply refuse to react impulsively, the one trying to destabilize you ends up experiencing frustration and, consequently, loses their manipulative force. From today, consciously cultivate the art of winning without needing to engage in unnecessary conflicts. Develop the capacity to observe attentively, evaluate with clarity, and select your battles with strategic wisdom. Now that you've understood that not every significant victory emerges from explicit confrontations, you're prepared to learn how to protect your most valuable resource. In the next lesson, you'll discover how to safeguard your mind as the inestimable treasure it truly is. Protect your mind like you would a treasure. Have you ever reflected on how absolutely everything you consume, be it information, others' opinions, or even seemingly trivial conversations, directly influences your way of thinking, feeling, and acting in the world? The Stoics recognized this truth centuries ago and rigorously applied a simple, yet extraordinarily powerful rule: protect your mind with the same zeal you would dedicate to your most precious treasure. Most people allow virtually any stimulus to penetrate their mind: toxic gossip, irrelevant news, sterile and purposeless discussions. In contrast, truly wise individuals adopt the opposite approach. They carefully filter what they consume and select only what genuinely adds significant value. Imagine your mind as a meticulously cultivated garden. If you don't exercise constant vigilance, weeds will inevitably proliferate and dominate the space. However, if you deliberately plant the right seeds, constructive ideas, edifying readings, valuable advice, the result will be an extraordinarily fertile soil for your growth and success. Put these transformative principles into practice. Critically analyze your sources of information: social media, news, videos you habitually consume, people with whom you regularly interact. Are these elements effectively contributing to your evolution or just overloading your mental capacity? Ruthlessly eliminate what doesn't add value. If a certain conversation, social media profile, or news source predominantly transmits negativity, don't hesitate to exclude it from your mental diet. Consciously substitute with edifying content, enriching books, transformative courses, inspiring podcasts, and, fundamentally, interactions with people who genuinely elevate your consciousness. The Stoics maintained an unshakable conviction: that which enters your mind inexorably determines who you become. Therefore, if you aspire to intellectually and emotionally surpass the average person, begin deliberately nourishing your mind only with what truly matters and contributes to your evolution. Now that you've learned to protect that inestimable treasure that is your mind, you're prepared to discover another extraordinarily powerful secret. In the next lesson, you'll understand how simplicity often represents the key to true intelligence and wisdom. Accept simplicity. Brilliance is simple. Have you observed how genuinely brilliant minds rarely complicate matters? They present solutions that seem surprisingly obvious, direct, and efficient. This occurs because the Stoics had unveiled a secret that many still ignore. The truly brilliant is elegantly simple. Many people mistakenly believe that, to demonstrate intelligence, they need to employ sophisticated vocabulary, elaborate, extraordinarily complex plans, or complicate issues that could be resolved with direct approaches. The Stoics, however, followed precisely the opposite path. They tirelessly sought the fundamental essence of things, eliminating everything that was superfluous or unnecessary. Put these transformative principles into practice. Seek objectivity when solving problems. When a situation seems excessively complex, ask yourself, what would be the most direct and simple solution possible? Communicate ideas with crystal clarity. If you cannot explain a certain concept in a simple and accessible manner, this frequently indicates that your own understanding has not yet reached the necessary depth. Systematically eliminate excess. Most concerns, rules we rigidly follow, and even everyday conflicts represent, in essence, mere distractions. Focus exclusively on what truly matters. Reflect on the greatest geniuses in the history of humanity. Their distinctive characteristic was the extraordinary ability to transform extraordinarily complex concepts into accessible principles. This doesn't reflect superficiality, but rather absolute mastery of knowledge. From today, whenever you encounter something apparently complicated, formulate these revealing questions. Does this issue really need to be so intricate, or am I inadvertently complicating it? If I needed to explain this concept to a 10-year-old child, how would I do it? What would be the most direct and efficient approach to solve this challenge? True intelligence doesn't manifest in unnecessary complexity, but in the extraordinary ability to transform the apparently difficult into something surprisingly simple and accessible. Now that you've understood the transformative power of simplicity, you're prepared to identify a factor that can potentially compromise all your achievements if not adequately controlled. In the next lesson, you'll discover how ego can represent your most dangerous adversary and how to master it before it takes control of your life. Control your ego or it controls you. You've certainly already met someone who wasted extraordinary opportunities simply because they couldn't control their own ego. Perhaps a colleague who systematically rejects any constructive feedback, a friend who stubbornly insists on always being right, or even someone who, out of pure pride, refused valuable assistance and ended up failing unnecessarily. The Stoics understood with remarkable clarity that ego represents one of the most powerful adversaries of true intelligence. It blinds us to important realities, blocks our continuous learning, and induces us to make decisions based on pride, not rationality. If you aspire to intellectually and emotionally surpass most people, you need to develop the capacity to control your ego before it takes command of your life. Implement these transformative practices. Humbly accept your condition as an eternal learner. Recognize that you will never master all existing knowledge. There will always be someone capable of teaching you something valuable. Instead of feeling threatened by this reality, view it as an extraordinary opportunity for continuous growth. Actively solicit feedback and welcome constructive criticism. While most people react defensively when receiving criticism, truly developed minds use this feedback as a precious instrument for personal and professional improvement. Free yourself from the need for external approval. The ego constantly seeks status, recognition, and validation. The Stoics, however, concentrated on what genuinely matters, not on superficial appearances. Reflect honestly on these revealing questions. Do you prefer to be technically correct or to continue learning and evolving? Do your decisions primarily aim to impress others or promote your authentic growth? When someone criticizes aspects of your behavior or performance, do you constructively reflect on the feedback or immediately assume a defensive posture? The fundamental truth is that the less your ego controls your decisions and behaviors, the more you learn, grow, and evolve in all dimensions of your existence. Now that you've understood how to master your own ego, you've already positioned yourself significantly ahead of most people. However, it's of no use to simply absorb this valuable knowledge if you don't concretely implement it in your everyday life. Therefore, before concluding this video, select one of these powerful Stoic lessons and deliberately apply it today in your personal or professional experience. If you wish to continue developing your wisdom and discernment, follow me for more transformative content like this. Until our next meeting, sincere congratulations for having remained until the end of this video. The simple fact that you're here, actively seeking knowledge and committed to your personal evolution, already positions you significantly ahead of most people. After all, very few individuals invest valuable time to learn and apply lessons that can genuinely transform their lives. Now, I want to hear your perspective. Which of these profound Stoic lessons resonated most with you and impacted your worldview? Share your experience in the comments below. If by chance you don't know exactly what to comment, simply write, "I am grateful." This way, I'll know that you've reached this point and are part of this select group of people truly committed to their personal growth. And if you wish to continue learning and developing an extraordinarily strong and insightful mindset, subscribe to our channel right now. This will ensure that you regularly receive more content like this, designed to strengthen your mind with the timeless wisdom of Stoicism. But we don't stop here. I'll leave 2 more specially selected videos at the end, filled with valuable teachings about Stoic philosophy. Watch them and continue your journey toward a significantly wiser and more balanced life. See you in the next video.